EA Sports College Football 25 has been refreshing. Now that the game has been out for basically 6 months now, I can confidently say that EA Sports has made a good football game. Not great, but good. This has been super refreshing because the Maddens over the past years have continued to be terrible. College Football 25 has been a good game, but good isn't great. In fact, College Football 25's most popular game mode Dynasty has some flaws and holes that I would like to see fixed and changed in College Football 26. That's why today I will be sharing my College Football 26 Dynasty mode wish list and ideas. Before we get started, I just want to say make sure you watch the whole video and subscribe if you enjoy it. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's start things off with talking about customization. The overall customization in College Football 25 has been super limited. And with Team Builder being not very good, EA needs to fix this area in College Football 26. One way I think College Football 26 can improve on customization is to add the ability to create a school in the base game, kind of like how you can create a team in NBA 2K. Allow us to customize the logo, uniforms, helmets, and accessory colors. We could also potentially customize the band and cheerleaders with their uniforms. Have the band play generic college football songs and fight songs. Let us customize the stadium kind of how you can in MLB The Show. Currently, you can only select pre-built options in Team Builder. We should be able to add on to the stadium as we progress, while our team gets better and school gains more traction throughout the years. It doesn't make sense to start as a small school, and once you make your first playoff or national championship, your stadium's capacity is still 30,000. Allow us to upgrade facilities and customize those as well. We could also maybe customize the campus and terrain surrounding the stadium. Coach customization needs to be completely revamped. Give us full customization with new options and better face sculpting on our coaches and coordinators. Let us have new clothes, hats, and sunglasses, along with team gear instead of a generic polo and quarter zip. Take notes from what some of the most popular college football coaches wear. Let us rock the sunglasses like Deion Sanders or the visor like Kirby Smart. And please, for the love of God, put headsets on coaches. Why this is missing, I have no clue. Let us create a sign like we could in older NCAA games. Allow us to customize the crowd to make it whatever we want it to be, whether that's a whiteout, stripe, blackout, color out, checkered, etc. We are in control of our school. This should go for online dynasties as well. Imagine your friend coming into your whiteout stadium, and the stadium pulse is max. Allow us to change the appearance of our players. Go watch my gear wish list, by the way. It really is these small things that make the game better. Small things that Madden has been avoiding for years, making it a bad football game. NIL needs to be implemented more in CFB 26. I know EA avoided it due to the complications and likeliness to change in real life. It does not have to be one-to-one to how it is in real life. That is impossible. Give us something that makes sense and is realistic. I think EA should add money to throw at players along with the current time system. Each year, your school gets a budget that corresponds with how your program did last season and the years prior. If your program makes a playoff appearance, you should get a little extra bonus for doing that. Same thing goes for conference championship games and national championship games as well. Recruiting also needs some tweaks as well. The whole system doesn't need to be changed, just some small things need to happen in order for it to be semi-new. Have options in the options that are available. If I want to DM a player or contact their friends and family, then I should be able to send a specific message based on what he values in my school. If he values playing time, conference history, and a highly prestigious coach, then I should be able to send him a message about that without having to spend 40 hours or 20 hours on that. Speaking of DMing players, College Football 26 should introduce Do Not Contact on some players in the transfer portal. Players usually do this when they are down to 3 or less schools in mind, or only want to transfer to 3 potential schools. This feature would be cool to see in CFB 26. Now that we are on the topic of the transfer portal, when you encourage a guy to transfer in CFB 26, He should actually transfer instead of disappearing off of the face of the planet like how it is in College Football 25. I think transfers actually need to happen a little bit more in College Football 26. Players rarely transfer in CFB 25. You should also be able to see what school he goes to and every other player that transfers in that cycle. Let us see what happened over the years in every portal cycle for our team. Stat tracking in College Football 26 also needs to be completely revamped. Let us see a full catalog of historical stats. That includes things like box scores, player stats, team stats, award winners, and one thing that has been heavily requested, the trophy room. I want to see what my program has accomplished in my dynasty. I want to see my team's greatest players and worst players. Bring back instant classic games with full box scores and maybe some video or photo highlights. I want to see my greatest games. As you progress through your dynasty, the games tend to blend together. I want to relive those moments of excitement and heartbreak. All of this should be at the click of a button or two. Do what Madden has not done. I think College Football 26 should introduce a level system that unlocks rewards for your head coach. For example, maybe at level 5 you get 0.25 times as much XP. Level 10 you can put more hours or money into certain players. At level 20 you can customize the crowd and what they wear. At level 30 you unlock better practice facilities. At level 50 you can build off of the stadium. At level 60, you can customize practice facilities and maybe build new ones. Level 70, 80, 90, all the way up to 100. This is not for every level, just every 10 or 5. The mode should not also revolve around the leveling system. There should be some things that can be accessed but are not in the leveling system and take time to get. Finally, let us export draft classes over to Madden. What our players do in college should actually matter because right now it doesn't. Now, let's dive into presentation. This is an aspect of which I think this game can really improve from CFB 25 and does not only go just for Dynasty mode. Some of these things can be included in Play Now and Road to Glory. First off, I have a proper halftime show. Give us stats and scores from around the country, maybe with some footage from that game. Give us sideline updates on injured players without having to check the injury report. Give us a different score bug in the playoffs, kind of how they do it in real life. I can't stress this enough. Give us overhead stadium shots and campus shots during pregame. Speaking of pregame, make new walkouts and runouts. It gets very boring seeing the exact same runout every time. Give us conference or national rankings graphics during the game. Give us who the game is sponsored by. Make it feel like a real broadcast. Have the time of day actually matter. 3:30 games should get darker in the fourth quarter. 5 o'clock games like the Rose Bowl should get dark late second quarter, early third quarter. Don't make it totally dark either. Give us some pink skies and sunsets. Allow us to change the weather in Dynasty games. If I want it to snow in Happy Valley, then I should be able to make it snow in Happy Valley. If I want it to be 100 degrees in Tuscaloosa, then it should be 100 degrees in Tuscaloosa. This can also impact our players' stamina if it's tremendously hot. Then our players' stamina should probably take a hit, as well as injury from players cramping in the heat. Give us a bigger news tab in the menu. The one we have currently only has 4 slides, and it's pretty disappointing. And please let fans storm the field. It's a video game, let us have our fun. Make sure the field storm makes sense. If we knock off a big-time rival school on a last-second play, then that is a proper time to storm the field. If we knock off a top 12 opponent at home, then that is a proper time to storm the field. Let's make sure these field storms end up in the Classics tab too, if it is that kind of game. And just for fun, maybe once in a while we can take down a goalpost or two. I've talked about pregame and halftime, but let's talk about postgame. Give us a college football final kind of postgame. Give us stats and scores to games across the country and big-time conference games, along with talks about how teams can make the playoffs. If this gets implemented, then I think EA should find a way to not make it super repetitive. Back in older NCAA games, you would start off your college career in high school. For me personally, and also probably for a lot of other people in the community, This is a must-have for Road to Glory in College Football 26. Starting off your career in high school adds to the story and meaning of your player. In College Football 26 Road to Glory, there should be new positions such as kicker, offensive lineman, and defensive lineman/edge rusher. Do what Madden has not done. You should be able to design your high school just like how you were able to in NCAA 14. You should be able to design team uniforms, end zones, the middle of the field, scoreboard, and bleachers. All of this should be pre-built in the base game. And if you want to, you can import a team in the all-new remodeled Team Builder. Yes, Team Builder needs a complete overhaul. You should also be able to design other schools and their teams' features just like you were able to in previous NCAA video game titles. There should be an ability to change the names and appearance of your teammates as well. Don't get me wrong, I love Steve Merca, Alex Howell, Gio Saria, Craig Ostrander, Thien Nguyen, and Michael Weisbecker, but maybe I also want to change the names of those players. The recruiting system should be basically the same from older NCAA games. You should be able to set your star rating once you get into high school and gain stars as you progress while gaining offers in the process. Though, unlike NCAA 14, lower star players should not be getting offers from higher tier programs. They should be getting offers from the colleges near to where their high school is and should rarely get offers from programs across the country. On the other hand, higher starred players should be getting seen from programs across the country and should get more offers from higher starred programs while receiving less offers from lower star programs. In your dynasty as Kent State, you wouldn't really ever offer a 5-star because you would have virtually no shot at landing him. The same logic applies here. High school should also be more challenging for 1-star and 2 stars, and easier for 4 stars and 5 stars. Also, based on where you put your high school can be the opponent's skill level. If you place your high school in Texas, Florida, Alabama, or California, then your competition should be better than the high school players in, say, Idaho, Maine, or Massachusetts. Lastly, on your journey to college, you should be able to visit colleges and their football facilities. You should be able to see what they have accomplished, like what they have won: bowl games, playoff games, conference championships, etc. Who has historically played for their college, and players from that college that are now in the NFL. One thing that was really missing from college football 25, in my opinion, was the college experience. The lack of it sort of makes the game lifeless at times. The overall college experience in this game needs a big upgrade from College Football 25. The most experience we got in College Football 25 was just the occasional scripted text message that would appear in every Road to Glory that you would do. We need more in College Football 26. I think one way to up the college experience is to add a dorm room. The dorm room was a feature removed for some reason back in the old NCAA games and would be very cool to see in College Football 26. This should act as the menu in Road to Glory. Right now, we have the same exact menu screen that we have for Dynasty, and it's really bland. The dorm room should feature the same things the current menu does. It should have your college campus or stadium in the background, adding more uniqueness to your school of choice. Maybe a picture of your girlfriend or old high school teammates on your desk or bedside table, books and a computer for classes on your desk. If you were a quarterback, you could maybe share a room with a wide receiver or tight end. If you were a running back, you could maybe share a room with a notable offensive lineman or wide receiver. Maybe as you get better as a player and gain NIL deals, possibly with a cleat brand, you can see pairs of that brand's shoes or apparel in the room. You should be able to see your school's apparel in the room too. T-shirts and shorts in the summertime and sweatshirts and pants in the wintertime. For me personally, the whole college experience goes past what energy points I want to spend in my week on. Let us be a part of the college. Make us take exams when it is time for them. The higher the GPA your player has, the easier the test is. The lower the GPA, the harder it is. Let us make a sign in our dorm room and then have our best friend hold it up in the student section on game day. It adds life to the game. Let us set the stadium to be a whiteout, blackout, stripe theme, checkered, etc. Make the student section stand out from the rest of the stadium. Make them louder than the rest of the stadium, but not so much that the other part of the stadium is quiet. Let us warm up pre-game while the stadium is empty. Kind of how you can shoot around pre-game in NBA 2K. Let us run out of the tunnel and through the band with the rest of the team. Imagine running through the Power T in a checkered Neyland Stadium, or running out of the tunnel in a whiteout at Penn State. Also, let us go on to another college stadium, run out, and get booed. These would not only be really cool and awesome, but it would also add life to the game, make the atmosphere better and more real, and add to the overall college experience. Lastly, I have the general gameplay. As I stated earlier in the video, I think College Football 26 should add new positions like kicker, offensive lineman, and D-lineman/edge rusher. One of the standout players in college football this past year, who also happened to win the Heisman, was Travis Hunter. As you probably know, Travis played both wide receiver and cornerback at the same time, and he actually does this in College Football 25. I think College Football 26 absolutely needs the ability to play two positions at once. Imagine being a quarterback and a linebacker at the same time. Or just like Travis Hunter, a wide receiver and cornerback, you could potentially be a quarterback and kicker or a running back and defensive lineman. The possibilities are endless, and that's how it should be because it's a video game and also your road to glory. I also think this is a must-have for College Football 26. I think the progression right now in CFB 25 is way too slow when it comes to your player and road to glory. EA needs to add potentially a new player progression system or a faster way to gain skill points without tampering with the settings. If I am a 5-star and I come into my freshman season as an 80 overall, by midway through my sophomore season, I should at least be a 90. At the start of your road to glory, you should be able to customize the playoff from 2 teams all the way up to 64. You should also be able to do this in the off-season. Speaking of the off-season, there should be a spring game. These are played all over the country at virtually every college. If you decide to transfer, you will not get to play in the spring game. I wanted to share my wish list of accessories for the new game. These are things that you can put onto your player in things like Road to Glory and Dynasty Mode. Let's get into it. Number 1, single-legged leg sleeves. These are massive in college football. There really is no reason for them not to be in the game. These are seen on some of the biggest college football stars in the nation, such as Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck. We have been asking for these for a long time now, and now that we have the ability to have pants above the knees, I feel EA can make this work too. Coming in at number 2, hanging mouthpieces. These are some of the best quote-unquote drip in college football, and again, there is no reason why they shouldn't be in the game. These are some of the most requested items throughout the community that have been requested for years and would be awesome to see in the new game. Here are some images of players wearing them. Like in the images shown, it would be nice if we could have the option to have it attached to the helmet and in our player's mouth, but also hanging off the helmet with realistic movement, like in the images shown. I would also like to have them come in different colors like lime green, hot pink, neon orange, and the various different team colors as well. Now, at number 3, I have realistic spats. In the college football and Madden games, the spats you can wear on your cleats have been not too realistic. They have been extra bulky and just look overall ugly and terrible to play with. Spats are worn by a ton of players throughout the country, and it sucks right now that they look terrible in game. If EA can make the spats look realistic, I think we can have overall satisfaction as a community. Now coming in at number 4 on my wish list, I have turtleneck/sleeveless neck undershirts. These have been worn all over the country. Players like Ryan Williams, Jackson Dart, and Drew Aller wear them, but that's just to name a few. Coming in at number 5, I have ski masks. Ski masks have been gaining more traction over the last couple of years and is now being worn by the likes of Travis Hunter and other players across the country. In one of the earlier trailers of College Football 25, we thought we were getting them, and it got the community pretty hype. But with the launch of the game, we now know that that was not the case. Though we did not get them in College Football 25, I hope EA puts these in College Football 26. Next up on the list, I have jewelry. I know this might be asking for too much, but it would be so cool to have your player wearing a chain and road to glory or Dynasty. Shedeur Sanders wears a watch, so why can't we? Imagine you score a touchdown, and then you flash your wrist to the visiting student section in the end zone. Next up on my list, I have something that I think could be done right now, and that is having a hoodie without having the crop top jersey. I don't know why, but I think the crop top jersey looks hideous, but I would like to wear a hoodie underneath. So I think there should be an option to have your hood coming out of your jersey without the crop top. Next on the list is calf sleeves. These are seen on players like Dylan Gabriel, just an alternate option from the leg sleeves that are already in the game. Now coming in last, but certainly not least, I have make a shoe. In the series NBA 2K, you have the ability to create a shoe or design a model to a shoe. Because of this, you can create shoes that aren't actually in the game, and different colorways of shoes that aren't in the game. If this can get implemented into college football and Madden, I think this would be a huge success. You could create a shoe and wear it in your road to glory, or possibly put it on some of your players in Dynasty mode. This could also be a NIL implementation in Road to Glory. I would also like the ability to do this potentially from the menu screen in EA Sports College Football, just like NBA 2K. Well, let's jump into my gear wish list part 2 for EA Sports College Football 26. Number 1, I have tattoos. So many players have tattoos in college football, this should almost not even be a wish. Players all over the country have tattoos. Players on every team in the nation have tattoos. You should be able to place these all over your player's body, and there should not be a limit of how many you are allowed to have. If this gets implemented into College Football 26, it would really get the community hype, and I think if EA does this correctly, it would receive very positive feedback from the community. Like the video if you have made it this far. Now at number 2 on my list, I have the ability to wear multiple things on your player's arm at once. Now, I know you can wear things on your arm and elbow and wrist all at once. But what I'm wishing for is the ability to wear 2 things on your arm at once. In College Football 25 and Madden games, you can wear shooter sleeves, full arm sleeves, 1/4 arm sleeves, 1/2 arm sleeves, turf tape, etc. In College Football 26, I want the ability to wear 1/4 arm sleeves and 1/2 arm sleeves at the same time, or 1/4 arm sleeves and turf tape at the same time. Players across the country do this, as you can see from the images on the screen. This would be very cool to see in College Football 26, and would make the customization more diverse and unique to your player as well. At number 3, I have hair coming out of the back of your helmet. Whether it is hair like Trevor Lawrence or DeAndre Hopkins, shout out Clemson, or hair like Jalen Milroe, Travis Hunter, and Jackson Dart, this should be in College Football 26. I mean, this was even in NCAA 14. So why can it not be in the game that has the ability to do 5 times more than NCAA 14? Subscribe to the channel if you are excited for College Football 26 to come out. Next up, I have thigh pants. If pants above the knees weren't enough, then let's have thigh pants. I mean, Players are wearing them, and with no NCAA to stop EA like the NFL had over Madden, then why the heck not? And if we want to dig even more deep into nitty-gritty detail, wearing these can increase your likeliness for injury by like 10 attributes and maybe increase your toughness rating by 1 or 2. Not too much that will make these not worth wearing. If the player doesn't want to do this, then there should be a setting to turn it off, without having to turn the wear and tear feature off. Next up, I have backplates with team logos. Pretty simple here. Don't need to do much explanation. Sticking with backplates, I have a crop top jersey without the pads sticking out. In the other accessories video, I said I did not like the crop top jersey, but I have now learned that I think it looks ugly because of the pads sticking out. I just want the option to wear the crop top without the pads sticking out, and you can still see what number you wear on the front of your player. Next on the list for accessories in College Football 26 is reflective visors. These would be insanely cool to see in College Football 26. If EA can get these mirrored to the stadium and environment around your player, that would be awesome. Imagine you look at a player lined up as a wide receiver and you look in their visor and you see your cornerback just standing there, or vice versa. What if you are playing at a venue like the Rose Bowl, Colorado's Folsom Field, or BYU's Lavelle Edwards Stadium, and you see the mountains and pink sky in the background? That is if EA adds dynamic weather and time of day influence in College Football 26, which has been heavily requested and should have already been in College Football 25. Nonetheless, having reflective visors would be awesome to see in the new game. Okay. Now let's jump into some stuff that was not included in the other videos. These are some of your guys' comments or just some things that I forgot to or did not put into the other videos. Let's start off with Dynasty mode. I started my Dynasty video with customization, so that's where I'm going to start here as well. I would like the ability to create mascots in CFB 26 as a part of your Create a School. I want to design what they look like, what they wear, and what they do. This was in NCAA 06. So why can it not be in the game 20 years later? Another customization option I would like to see return in CFB 26 or future titles is create a chant. This was in some of the older college basketball games, if my memory serves me right. I would also like the ability to create a fan. I talked about creating a sign in my other videos, but a fan would be so cool. We could have them painted in our school's colors, wear the shoulder pads like they do at Georgia, wear overalls in the team's colors like they do basically in every school across the country. This should go for all schools, not just your Create a Team school as well. Next up, I have FCS teams in Dynasty. This also probably won't get added until future titles, but it would be awesome to see in CFB 26. I also want the ability to swap out team builder teams with FCS teams in Dynasty. Instead of replacing an actual school, you can replace one of those generic FCS teams and start your Dynasty there, or just add another school. I still want the option to replace other FBS schools, though. I talked about recruiting some in my Dynasty Wishlist video, but I didn't talk about some other stuff I want to be added to CFB 26. One of those things is the ability to visit high school players' games. We could possibly take a look at some of their high school tape, though that would have to cost hours to do so. Another one is to be able to practice with the recruit. Maybe when you schedule some recruits to visit, you can have a team scrimmage or drills that the recruits partake in. Let us expand the playoffs too. 14 teams, 20, all the way up to 64. Now, I personally will not be partaking in the 64-team playoff, but if you all would like that, go for it. Or, if we want, we can shrink the playoff down to 8, back to the old CFP and 4 teams, or the old BCS format with 2 teams playing for a national championship at the end of the season, whatever we want. Allow us to also set the rules for the playoffs too. If we want to get rid of first-round buys, let us do that. If we want to get rid of auto bids, let us do that. Now let's talk more about presentation things I didn't go over in my Dynasty video. This does go for other things like Road to Glory, not just Dynasty. Give us an NCAA 06 kind of pre-game, post-game, and halftime show. Give us sideline reporters that interview coaches and players. Ask them questions and maybe record some voices of the coaches if they get added into CFB 26. Bring back a person like Aaron Andrews that gives us real-to-life studio updates and points out games that are going on across the country. Give us post-game interviews with some of the star players. Speaking of coaches, add real coaches to the game. I know Lane Kiffin wants to be in the game. Probably Deion Sanders too, since he was in recent Madden titles. This would be awesome to see in College Football 26. I talked about weather and daylight time in my other video, but I want to elaborate on that more. Give us full options to set the weather and time of day however we want pre-game and on our schedule whenever we want. Let us change the weather however we like, but make it somewhat realistic. The limit to how hot or cold a game should be should differentiate from the beginning of the season in late August, early September, rather than late November and late December. It shouldn't snow in southern states in the late summer and early fall. Keep it somewhat realistic. Also, add some stats that either increase or decrease based on school location. Go no further than what Ohio State did to Tennessee in the playoffs. Ohio State had played games in the cold. During the season, Tennessee had not. Same thing with SMU and Penn State. Have our players drop the ball more in the cold. It's just the little nitty-gritty details that can separate this game from an okay game to a great game. When we leave in the coach carousel, make some, if not a lot of our players follow us, and some enter the transfer portal to go elsewhere. Same with coordinators. Maybe EA can come up with a social media thing in College Football 26. Imagine this, you just lose a big-time game, and your fans are calling for your job and telling you you're on the hot seat. Or you win a big-time game and then your fans are praising you, saying your team can make a run in the playoff. Social media can also be used as another news tab. See what's going on across the country. If a coach or coordinator leaves, then people will post about it. Maybe they can add memes people upload based on what happened in your team's game. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but NBA 2K has this too. Let us announce what our school needs to wear on game day in the social media tab. White out? Let's announce it and get the school hype. Lastly, the student section around the country needs to have shakers. If you have ever been to a game, you will see shakers everywhere in the student section. The students are going crazy with them, waving them around all the time, shaking them more violently when there is a big-time play or touchdown. And even when there is music, the students shake them on, beat to the music playing in the stadium. Make these stand out from the rest of the stadium. I cannot stress this enough, but the student section is more aggressive and into the game than the rest of the stadium. Now that doesn't mean the rest of the stadium is a snooze fest. That just means the student section is more alive. It's these really small details that you think you wouldn't care about, but really make the difference that can separate this game from the rest of the sports games. Well guys, that about wraps it up. If you have made it all the way to the end of the video, comment what you guys want to see in CFB 26 and tell me you made it to the end. Make sure you are subbed to the channel because we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate your guys' support. Anyways, see you later.